Hi, welcome to The Truth with Tal Isaac. I'm Tal.
I'm Isaac.
Episode number 125 coming at you today. That's a big number.
Bigger than episode 124.
Nice. You're so good at math. NFL free agency is a huge week that happened in the NFL. We've got a little topic about some of our favorite NBA players that are not all-stars. It's easy to love Luka and Steph. Who are the guys that are a little bit under the radar that we love? And the Chautauqua. It's secret. We'll talk about that one later.
Okay, super manic to start the day.
Super manic. Let's roll into off the top.
Go ahead.
Wings were so on fire. And then they've just been a punching bag the last 2 weeks. They're playing Buffalo right now. Please beat Buffalo. We just need to get in the playoffs. The city deserves it, right?
Yeah, the city deserves it. We have to give it back to you, the people. We need a Wings playoff game in Detroit. We just need it. It's got to happen.
Shows you how dependent we are on Dylan Larkin, though.
Yes, it does. It also shows how dependent when the Pistons are winning 12 games a year. You want to talk about the Pistons a little bit right now?
Yeah.
Briefly.
So we've gone, actually, Youngblood went to 3 Pistons games this week. I went to 2 Pistons games. And we sat near Troy Weaver all the time, which is cool. And about a week and a half ago was when he had his issues with some fan in the crowd. But spending 2 games in relatively close proximity to him, I have gained some new respect for Troy. What are your thoughts on Troy? He's the GM of the Pistons, for those people that don't know.
Yeah, great dude. Like seeing him in person was cool. When we met him, he was cool. Obviously, we disagree with some of the basketball moves that he's made.
We have disagreed with some things.
But a lot of respect for still sitting with the fans and still giving us nods when we're over there and still showing up and watching the game. Like, it's cool that he sits next to us, essentially.
It's possible that he thinks he should know us. Because for sure, the Heat game yesterday, he kind of looked over and nodded to us like he knows us.
So do you think he either listens to the show or he just knows that we're avid fans? Like, what? Because he does know us. Does he remember meeting us?
I don't think he remembers meeting us. And I'd say it's pretty unlikely that he's a fan of the show.
Perhaps an assistant put it on his radar.
That's a good possibility.
For scouting.
Yeah,
for scouting purposes.
Yeah, because we're super helpful.
Yep.
Or he just was like, hey, I met those fellas before. They look friendly. And they're staring at me a fair amount, so I should just give them the nod.
Yeah, that's also a possibility.
But I think we need to talk about your new best friend.
Okay, I will let you, again, briefly intro my new best friend.
So Wednesday we went to the Raptors game. Urban and Malachi made the drive back down from Toronto.
Shout out my guys.
Yeah, shout out to those fellas. And we were sitting not exactly in the seats that we had purchased. We just moved down a little bit. We're prone to do that on occasion.
Prone.
And Isaac was sitting next to some dude who I knew worked for the Pistons organization. The whole second half, and they're talking away. And then on the way out, I said, thanks for entertaining my son. He's like, that's your son? He's awesome. He is great to talk to. So shout out to Graham Donzel. Right?
Yep. Yeah, I think that works.
Yep. We're not sure if it's Donzel Graham or Graham Donzel. Either way. So we went to the game yesterday, and obviously we made a way to sit down next to him again. We can't really talk about how we got down that close. No, that's not allowed.
Those who know me very well, feel free to reach out.
Feel free to reach out
privately. A new groundbreaking technique
we got new shtick. We got new game. It was good.
I did a new thing and it worked great.
And smooth.
And it's just added to the bag now. But again, that's private.
Yep. So we sit next to him again, and I said hi, and Isaac said hi. And when he saw Isaac, he gave him a hug and happy to see him. Isaac, nice to see you. We're chatting away. He's like, you guys take the bridge here? I'm like, no, he took the tunnel. And he started laughing. Oh, I knew that. Anyway, he does security for the Pistons, and he's Isaac's new best friend, I think.
Yeah, he's atop the power rankings this week. Really, his stocks just skyrocketed over the past few days. I told him I can't go to the game on Sunday. He's pretty upset because we just sat, we talked ball, we talked life, we talked security, we talked Pistons, we talked so much stuff. So yeah, new best friend is my guy.
Okay. Any more Pistons chatter?
Not directly related to the Pistons, no.
No? They're starting to look a little better.
They are, yeah, they are.
A little bit.
It's going to balance out, right? If you lose that many games in a row, you're going to win a couple games in a row.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's happening.
Just a little bit of smash talk about Aaron Rodgers. Just when I think he can't get any lower as a human being, more information comes out. 2 pieces of information last week. One,
it's going to get really controversial and political.
He is a potential VP candidate for RFK Jr., Looney Bin Central. And even worse than that, some Sandy Hook conspiracy theory stories came out just in this past week. RIP Sandy Hook victims. But only terrible people say bad things about Sandy Hook. And obviously, that's Aaron Rodgers. So whatever bad things happen to people in life, They don't add up. Put those all together, and those bad things should happen to Aaron Rodgers. That's my wish. Is that a little harsh?
Yeah, it's really good stuff there.
Okay.
Really good.
Any more off the top stuff? What do you
I
got?
got my wisdom teeth out last week. I just put down overrated. Like, I asked the folks at the dentistry office, I said, like, hey, like, how long until I can play basketball? They said, oh, like 5 days, 6 days. I said, okay.
So by 5 days, 6 days, 24 hours?
Yeah, around 27.
27 hours. Okay.
Played the next day and shot the lights out. So, wisdom teeth.
He didn't play, it was just a shoot around.
Yeah, shot the lights turned off. Like, I just kept shooting and they turned off. I shot the lights out.
Nice.
So wisdom teeth overrated.
Do we want to talk about that All-Star team or no?
No, it's not necessary. Not yet.
It's pretty interesting.
Okay, thank you. Kung Fu Panda 4. Saw Kung Fu Panda 4 with 4 little dudes, my cousins.
Shout out to the cousins.
Not random dudes, little guys. They're my cousins. They're family.
Yep.
Great time at Kung Fu Panda 4. Just a blast. If you're a Kung Fu Panda fan, I recommend it.
I like Kung Fu Panda.
You'll like 4 then.
Yeah,
it's very
I like
good.
4. It's entertaining. They're all entertaining.
Okay, wisdom teeth I talked about. Do you want to talk about your flu game or is that not prudent?
Not prudent.
Okay. Tal's got a flu game, but he's plugging away.
We're not 100% today. Just allergies and stuff in the air. We're just fighting on. Grit.
Yeah, that's a lot of grit right there. That's all it is. Just persevering. Wow. So we'll start with NFL
Sorry
free
for the
agency.
cough.
I will. That's good to apologize. We'll start with NFL free agency. I will let you run with your notes. Are pretty erratic. I'll let you start though.
My notes are pretty good. So we're going to talk about the Lions first because we love the Lions and the Lions are awesome. They are the team that people now want to emulate, which just makes us feel happy. So what did? They just kind of went to a slow, steady week and finished pretty strong. Carlton Davis, Amik Robinson, a couple of cornerbacks to just add to the depth in that area. Picked up Marcus Davenport, who has some potential as a defensive line guy. They let C.J. Gardner-Johnson go, and I know people wanted him back, but he's not a starter for the Lions. Iffy and Brian Branch are now ahead of him, so I think it was a good move to let him go. Thoughts?
Yeah, I didn't think he was gonna stay.
I didn't think he was going to stay either.
I didn't think he was gonna go back to Philly, especially for that much money.
Philly needed, obviously, something to mix their team up, and they're assuming that,
We'll talk about Philly in a bit.
yeah, Shaquan Barkley.
It's just Saquon. There's no
Saquon,
H,
sorry.
right? Just Saquon. Philly made some big risks, but we'll talk about them later. Lions. So you talked about the guys they brought in. You didn't talk about their biggest move yet.
No, didn't talk about that yet.
So go ahead.
So they had a DJ Reader who's a beast, and the Cincinnati Bengals fans are super upset. And that's always a good sign when the team that he just left is super upset, wishing him well. McNeil and Reader together are going to be beasts, right? Like, you are not going to be able to run on the Lions inside at all, and they're going to be able to good push from the outside. If only there's somebody who could go next or opposite Hutch, other than Houston, I really think the Lions have the makings of a top 10 defensive line in the league.
Oh, defensive line. Yeah, I think the run defense is going to be fantastic. Like, we know that. We know their front seven is going to make some plays, and the linebacker showed some flashes. And Jalen Reeves-Maybin, my guy, is going to get more run at linebacker, you have to think.
I would think so.
They haven't really addressed linebackers, so you kind of look at
Jalen Reeves-Maybin, head of the NFL Players Association.
Yeah, he's a smart dude. If you look at what the Lions did in free agency, and then try to take that and look at the draft, you think back end of the first, if they stay where they currently are, they go one of two ways. We haven't really talked a ton about this.
No, I have one of 3 ways now.
I say you go edge or you go O-line. Are you at, say, receiver?
I still think cornerback. So I wrote down cornerback, D-line, really edge, I guess. Offensive guard. I put maybe even wide receiver.
I saw a mock where they picked Mitchell.
It's a possibility that, Keon Coleman, the guy who went to Michigan State, who had an awesome year at Florida State. Who's Mitchell?
Adonai Mitchell. He's like the huge, super fast, strong guy. Maybe Texas. Look, if they pick receiver,
Yes.
if they pick receiver back end one, I would be surprised. I think it's much more likely the Holmes Campbell tenure is showing you they're going to build in the trenches. So whether that be a defensive or an offensive lineman, or perhaps another cornerback, that would check out. You talk about the guys that brought Reader, stud, some injury concerns there, but just in terms of a massive dude who's going to just fill gaps in the run game.
Yep.
Big time. Robertson, Raiders fans really sad to see Robertson.
I don't know a lot about Robertson. Little guy, right?
He's 5'9", which as a cornerback, if you're 5'9", you got to be a dog.
You're little.
But absolute dog, super physical, which I think means that It's just like, are they going to call PI on him once a
Sutton-
game or
Sutton
not call
is
it?
6'1", but if you're 6 yards behind the receiver, I don't think it matters if you're 5'9" or 6'1".
Okay, correct. Good take. Raiders fans were very upset to see Robertson go.
Good sign.
So he might be slaw. They moved him out wide. He kind of moved around. Carlton Davis. I didn't love him when he was younger. He has gotten better. There's some injury concerns. I don't know how good he is.
Tell you what, he's excellent at getting blocked by Reynolds.
He is, and he's excellent at saying
If you
stuff
don't
to make me
know,
like
you
him.
should know that.
If you looked at his interviews, he said some very good stuff.
Yeah, he did.
You think the Lions are going to extend him because he's got a year left? So you wouldn't give up a third if you're not extending him, likely.
I would think so, but the Lions, the last couple of years, they've show me contracts, show me guys, and potentially they either sign them if they're good, or they let them go and they get some compensation.
That takes us to Davenport here. That's a 1 year, very much similar to the Mosley deal last year, where injury guy, but he's good when he's out there, so we'll see if he can play on the edge. Brought back Graham Glasgow. That's a big time. That was like the first move for actually like relatively pretty
Good deal,
good money.
decent money. And we didn't really talk about letting Jonah Jackson go. I'm fine with that move as well because they would have had to pay big money for a guy who's only played about half the games the last couple of years.
Good for Jonah Jackson. He got a huge bag from the Rams. Gardner Johnson out, Benito Jones, Aquara,
Can
Big
Jonah
V.
Jackson play both ways? Because with Aaron Donald gone, Rams are in trouble.
Yeah, Aaron Donald probably saw how good the Lions looked and saw Panay just like take another step up and said, I think I'm done playing football.
True.
And you can make the argument Donald went a little early too. So this is just going to add fuel to the he's afraid of Panay.
He is afraid of Panay. I'm afraid of Panay.
Look, Lions, they had a good free agency. There's still a lot of work left to be done in the draft for sure, right? You need another corner. You need another edge. You got to finish your O-line. You need receiver depth. And there's 4 like key positions right there. So that's kind of where I got. But look, like I trust Holmes with a 4th round pick. Like he's proven that he can make, late day 2, early day 3 guys. Very solid football players. So that's kind of where I'm at with the current Lions state. Thoughts?
I also agree. I'm happy with the Lions. We're set up that we actually can sign one more guy if we would like to, or we can just keep that money open. And as the market changes over the next few weeks because of the draft, we're available to pick up some guys.
I would like to see the Allen Rock extension. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be big money, and that's fine. The Panay extension, whenever that is, might be next year. They might do it early. I'm not really sure. Looking forward to that. Just want to lock him up for sure. And then, what do we think about the Goff? Have we talked about that? Like, where do we think that's
3 years,
happening?
$150 million. That's just what it's going to be. It'll be big money.
Okay, yeah.
I like 4 years, 185 or something, but
That's what Cousins got, essentially. Cousins got a little below. Do you want to talk about the other teams now? Do we have
yeah, I
more
think
on
we
the
should
lines?
talk about some of the other teams.
Okay, so I'll let you start with some of yours.
Let's slide right into Kirk Cousins. Listen, Atlanta, if they had average quarterback play last year, they would have won the division. They had poopity-poop quarterback play, so they signed Cousins. Now, I don't really know if Cousins is one of those guys who's a pretty decent quarterback and who is a spectacular sales guy with a great agent, because he doesn't seem to be a winner, but he puts up good stats. He's got a big arm. He's 35 years old. But you think about the weapons that he now has to throw to with Robinson, Pitts, London. Who else wide receivers they just pick up?
They signed Mooney.
Mooney. They got some guys to throw to. They've got a pretty good offensive line for rushing. I would not want to play Atlanta this year.
Yeah, this year, like now they're the favorite to win the division for sure. Just to talk about Kirk Cousins, I don't know if it's his PR guy or his agent or what it is.
You agree with me? He gets more money than he probably should.
He gets more money than he probably should, like even relative to other, like because you look at like 4 year, $180 million, it's like, okay, who should be earning this? No, relative to other quarterbacks, he's still earning a lot more than a lot of other guys. Everyone loves him. A lot of it is because of this Netflix show. Did you watch it?
No.
So we're the only 2 people that didn't watch this Netflix quarterback thing. And I've been told by many people I have to watch it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't really watch TV. So like there's that. And then when I watch football, I like to watch football. I'm not
I
going to
usually
watch a
watch
show.
TV and fall asleep.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I use TV as.
Yeah, like a tool to fall asleep.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's fine. I use Beethoven. Warrior reference. So,
Warrior. Yes.
Netflix show.
Breathe.
Everyone go watch. Tell the folks briefly.
If you haven't watched Warrior from 2011, where you been? Go watch it. And if you watched it, just watch the fight scenes again. So good.
One of the best sports movies like ever.
So good.
Okay, so everyone loves Kirk Cousins, and a lot of it's because of this show. They talk about how good a teammate he is. Here's my brief bit, not to get too political. He didn't get vaccinated, right? So regardless of where you stand on that, he wasn't that good a teammate because he...
Was he that you like that? Was that him?
That's Kirk Cousins, yeah. But like, he not put his teammates at risk, but lessened the potential of his team by not doing that. So I'm not sure how good of a teammate he is in that regard.
Good point.
Thank you for that. Look, Cousins is a slightly above average quarterback to me. Like he's a good quarterback. He's coming off a big injury and he's old. So like I get it from the Atlanta standpoint. They haven't had a good quarterback in like 7 years. You need somebody. I get it. It's a lot of money, and I don't love Kirk Cousins like all these like even everyone's posting him. He does stuff with the kids and the chains. Like I don't really care. But it's fine to have him out of the division. That's kind of my Kirk Cousins take there.
Who else do you have as a W in free agency?
I would say good for Calvin Ridley.
Got a lot of money.
Got a lot of money into Tennessee, which is really weird.
I don't really understand what Tennessee. They spend a crap ton of money on Ridley and
Pollard.
Pollard, who I don't know, is a little Klay Thompson, right?
I wouldn't say he's Klay Thompson.
No?
We liked Pollard a couple years ago, and last year he wasn't very good.
Washed up, for those that don't know.
Yeah, so it's like good for Calvin Ridley. It's a lot of money, but why Tennessee? And that's a lot of money that Tennessee.
Jacksonville.
Why
did they let him go? That's the question.
Well, they replaced him with, I believe, Gabe Davis.
Yeah,
who I don't love.
Who either gets 5 touchdowns or nothing.
Correct. So the Titans bit there. Like that was just very confusing.
Uncle Phil like Gabe Davis?
I don't know. I don't think so. Okay. But I would have heard about that.
That's an indicator.
So we'll talk about Kirk Cousins. Lots of running back shakeups with low salaries. It's just who could get lower money. Do you want to talk about some of the running back shakeups? There's a lot.
Houston is a super fun team to watch, right? With CJ Stroud throwing the young guys. They picked up Mixon from Cincinnati, which I found a pretty interesting move. Decent money, not a ton. But then when you mix in Danielle Hunter into that, I give Houston an A in free agency. And it wasn't just me. I stole that from CBS Sports. Okay. The running back stuff, I couldn't keep track of all of it, right? Swift seemed to get a whole bunch of money.
Okay,
Jacobs seemed to get a bunch of money.
Okay, Texans. I really like the Texans' moves. Old man Joe Mixon, they overpaid for. Like,
Did they?
I think it was an overpay. I'm not a Mixon guy, though. I've been on record.
But Hunter's a good signing, right?
Hunter's a very good signing. Yeah. So I like Houston. Houston, I was rooting for them in the playoffs. I'm looking forward to Stroud. I love CJ Stroud. He's one of my favorite football players now.
Next year, he's probably a top 5 QB.
There's just like, if you want to do the starting a franchise with who, like...
He's right up there.
Mahomes
and him, probably.
That might be your group, right? Allen's still
Herbert,
there.
Allen, there's some guys.
So you talked about Saquon briefly.
Penny.
Can we talk about Saquon here? So
we can.
So it's a big risk for Philly, but I kind of like it.
I like it too. Philly obviously has a lot of talented players, but they felt they needed to shake things up, so they shook things up on offense and defense. Barkley 3 years, I don't know, 30 million or something.
No, it's like 3 years, 38-ish. So that's a fair amount of money. But he is, when healthy, top 5 running back in football. And when healthy, that's the key. Everyone talks about his injuries. First couple years in the league, he was very injury prone. Past 3 years, played 43 of 51 games.
That's pretty good.
He's been available the past 3 years. So,
and the Giants are poop, so I'm assuming they're blocking him with like Kmart workers.
Essentially, yeah. And Philly's O-line, like...
Sorry, no offense to Kmart workers.
I don't see a world where Saquon doesn't average like 5.5 yards per carry. Like, if you just look at what other guys have done in that system, I think he's going to thrive. They took some risks on defense, but the Saquon deal was very interesting. That was pretty cool to see as a football fan. Josh Jacobs to the Packers.
I actually don't like that.
For who?
Sorry, for the Lions, because Josh Jacobs, he's mean. He's tough. I don't want to face him twice a year, really.
I don't think that highly of Josh Jacobs.
Really?
Yeah, again, I don't love a lot of these running backs. I'm going on record for saying
Listen, I would still pick Montgomery over Jacobs, and I'd pick Gibbs asleep over Jacobs.
Okay. Those are both radical. That's fine.
But accurate.
Jacobs got a lot of money. Yeah, I'm just saying, Jacob, for a guy who wasn't very good last year, he got a lot of money. Derrick Henry to the Ravens, old man Derrick. I'd like to see another playoff push with him. Him and Lamar next to each other is just like very fun to watch. Like that's going to be cool.
Yep.
I don't know because the Ravens do a lot of like RPO dump off stuff. So I don't know how that's going to fit with Henry. If Henry's going to be more of a pass catcher this year, that's fine. DeAndre Swift to the Bears. Again, I'm just going to say the word overpay. Maybe the 4th time, 5th time I've said it.
Overpay.
It's a lot of money.
I need to give the Bears a little bit of credit. And can you explain to me how they got Keenan Allen for a 4th round draft pick?
Yeah, I can.
I don't understand that.
He's 31, and he's oft injured. So
he had his best year last year, I think.
Yeah, he had and he's a guy that can have an 18 catch game. Like we saw that. I think he did that against Lions.
He did against
pretty
Lions.
Close.
Yeah.
Chicago made some moves for sure, but I'm not afraid of them. And it's clear that
I still think Chicago's going to screw things up because it's what they do.
It's clear that Justin Fields is not valued how general fans value Justin Fields.
I put actually Justin Fields down as a loser. I didn't put a lot of individual players down. I put him down as a loser.
We talked about Joe Mixon. We talked about Pollard. Aaron Jones to the Vikings. Got cut and then like a couple days later signed with Minnesota really quickly.
Yeah, that's just weird. I'm not following all that stuff.
It's a lot.
I think what happens is it's a big deal right now because it's March and there's nothing else happening. Next November, I don't think a lot of these running backs are going to have significant impact. Barkley, I assume, is going to have some impact.
Interesting.
Jacobs, I would think some. But, like, do you remember all the big free agency moves last March? A little bit, but not that much.
The confusing ones stick out to you. And there's a fair amount of confusing ones this year.
Yes, there are.
Another one that was really confusing. Austin Eckler went to the Commanders.
Yeah.
For no money. Really weird. Like,
And he's amazing.
He requested a trade and then he stayed. And there was all this. The Chargers essentially cleaned house. If you want to talk about losers, we'll see. They'll take Neighbors at 5. You can put money on that. That'll happen. 100%. Malik Neighbors, awesome receiver, LSU.
Yeah.
With Herbo. That's just going to be cool.
N-A-B-E-R-S?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Good spelling. So lots of running backs with low salaries and like low guaranteed money. It'll be interesting to see how this all shakes up running back wise.
Okay, one more comment about I put it down as a winner. I put Pittsburgh getting Russell Wilson for super cheap is a W. Now, if Russell can fit into that system, control the ball, hand it off, not try and be a hero, I think it's a good signing. And Denver is basically paying 28.4 of the $30 million that Russell's going to make this year, plus a huge salary cap hit. I think it's good for Pittsburgh.
So you talked about two things there. Steelers, it's low risk, virtually free, right? So you can clown the Steelers for drafting Pickett and then trading him after he looked terrible, after they already drafted him.
What did they trade him for? Like a 5th pick or something?
And then they like swapped it was very marginal draft selection. So you clown them for the handling of, I think it was 22 overall they picked Pickett. Clown them for the handling of that asset. They made the wrong pick clearly, and then they turned it over relatively quickly. Don't clown them for picking up Russ for nothing. Like, he's free. You have a starting quarterback for free, and he's not the worst quarterback in the league. Like, there's a few guys that are just terrible.
There are a ton of backups who make more money than Russ.
Again, now
how much Pittsburgh is paying Russ?
The bad side here, Russ to the Broncos is essentially locked as the worst trade in recent sports history.
Beats Gobert,
and then
Harden.
Not to get political, but the trade that happened outside of sports that I'm not going to directly mention. If you remember it, you'll remember it. I don't think you do though, so I'll tell you after. That was another trade that happened at a similar time period. I'll write it so you can see. I'm not saying it.
Okay.
Good for Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield got his bag. That stood out to me. I wanted to shout Baker out. He's earned my respect. He really has, and I will be rooting for him in Tampa.
I agree.
Cardinals should suck again.
Yes.
We can move on, but they should suck. Raiders. Do you want to talk about do you have anything on the Raiders?
Yeah, they're dumb.
Okay, go ahead.
I just don't understand the moves that they make. Even the people in Vegas don't really understand the moves that they make. It's just weird. Let's keep rolling with the losers. Dallas Cowboys finally lost a bunch of players. And because they're paying Dak Prescott so much money, they can't afford to have anybody. So
I think another loser for me.
It's a bad trade. Yeah, it's true.
The Brian Burns bit. Can we talk about the Burns thing? Because it's very fascinating.
Yeah, I wrote that down.
Okay, can I spend a minute on it?
Please do.
Because I was kind of up to date on this when it was happening, just because I think he's very good. So he got traded to the Giants for a 2nd and a 5th. This is a fact. They had an offer of 2 firsts and 1 second from the Rams. This is a fact. That was a trade that was offered. And the Panthers said no. They declined it. Which gave Burns so much leverage, because when that trade offer got leaked, he's like, you're declining that, then I'm worth this. And that's what Burns' management team did, and that's how he got huge money from the Giants. Talk about asset management. If you're the Panthers, you sign him to his huge deal that he's earned, and then if you don't want to keep him, then you trade him, because someone's going to go after him if he has another great year, even with that big money. As we just saw, the Giants still have interest, even shelling over all that cap.
This is not today's episode, but I think we can all agree the Panthers are the worst franchise in the NFL, right?
In the NFL, yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
We could probably do a little, worst franchise in sports discussion.
It's going to be a little too close to home, so I don't want to talk about that one. We'll leave it at that.
But for a long time, the Lions were.
Well,
now they're not.
And then the Panthers, they're just overpaying for offensive linemen to try to make the Bryce Young pick look good, and they traded for Deontay Johnson to replace old man Adam Thielen. Just some poor management going on in Carolina. Can we talk about kicker extensions or no?
Keep rolling.
Okay, Jake Elliott, 4-year extension with Philly. That's big time.
Youngblood's on fire. Keep going.
Tied with Justin Tucker for those monitoring the kicker salaries. Elliott and Tucker tied.
Yeah, very few people monitoring kicker salaries.
So if anyone was just wondering, I just wanted to say that on the show. Packers. So the Packers made a couple moves, and everyone's talking about them. Look, they got Xavier
When you
McKinney.
say everybody.
National media guys.
Okay.
They got Xavier McKinney, who's a very good safety. They paid a ton of money, deemed an overpay, brackets by me. I'm deeming it an overpay. I don't see a lot of other people saying overpay. It's a lot of money for a guy that is not like a top 5 safety. It's just safety's not when you talk about positional value here.
Yep.
A lot of money you're paying a safety and a running back. That's what the Packers did. Curtis Samuel to the Bills. That's big time. No one's talking about that. Curtis Samuel's good.
Yeah.
I think Curtis Samuel can play.
Okay.
Vikings. Thoughts on the Vikings? They made a bunch of moves.
Well, losing Cousins is huge. They lost Cousins. They lost Hunter, which two of their most significant things. And they seem to be being dragging it out with Jefferson. Do you know why that is?
It's really, really strange.
He's the top 1 or 2 receivers in the league. I mean, you can maybe debate. Well, you can Hill, Stephon Diggs is probably taking a step down, but I think I'd still have Jefferson number 1.
It's not really even close to me right now.
So why are you messing around with that guy?
Because it's tough to pay a wide receiver $33 million a year and still compete.
Yep.
So they're either going to trade him. I did read something about reuniting him with Joe Burrow in Cincinnati.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And although that would because the Bengals had the T. Higgins piece.
Yeah.
T. Higgins wants to be the one. So theoretically, you
trade Higgins back.
Higgins in a package for Jefferson. Super crazy, super radical.
That'd be really interesting. I'd like that.
Interesting. And not
because I don't want Justin Jefferson in our division.
Well, that's the thing. Would you rather the Vikings pay Justin Jefferson $1 gazillion?
As a Lions fan, I'd rather Jefferson is outside the division.
Yeah,
I recognize now what Minnesota has to do. Obviously, if you're paying your wide receiver $33 million, you have to trade your 2 first-round picks, which you have now, move up and get one of the top 3 or 4 guys. Probably JJ is who you're going to likely get.
So I wrote down they just traded up in the draft, so now they've got 2 firsts,
11 and 23.
So I think one of 2 things happens: they combine those picks and go up even more to pick a quarterback,
or they draft Penix or something like that.
Yeah,
Penix is how you pronounce it.
Yeah, and then they go a guy at 11. I don't think Penix will go 11.
No,
it looks like it's tough to say with JJ. Lots of smoke screens.
JJ's anywhere between 5 and 20 now. I haven't seen him 20 for a little while, but it's pretty high these days.
I will say this: I do not want JJ going to Minnesota. He's a guy I want to root for the next 12 years.
Oh, correct. Yeah, I'd love for JJ to go to somewhere else on the West Coast AFC team.
Yeah, go to a team that is not going to bother the Lions, and I can just root for JJ and say, good for him, good for JJ, and keep up to date with his
career. Go to the
career.
Raiders.
I don't want to play him twice a year. I don't want to have to root against him all the time. So there's a lot of stuff for agency. There's some stuff there. What else do you have? I'm sure you've got some more mania.
Just Denver Broncos salary cap hell because of Russell Wilson. So they're paying $1 billion. They gave a bunch of draft picks because they don't even have money. They had to give up Jerry Jeudy for nothing. Lloyd Cushenberry, who's their center, who's pretty good. They had to give him up for nothing, too. So Denver Broncos are in hell because they wanted to get Russell Wilson.
And
Boo,
then
Denver.
The Cowboys haven't made a single move, and that's because Dak Prescott basically has a gun to Jerry Jones' head and says, you've got all this money for me, you can't really do anything. So people are talking about Jerry Jones, and I'm one to clown on Jones. With what he's paid Dak, he doesn't have many options. He's got to let a lot of guys go.
And he didn't really have a choice. Except now there's allegations coming up from 2017 that Dak Prescott did some bad things with the lady.
Yeah, I didn't think that was going to come up. I'm not going to speak to that because I don't have enough information.
I'm not an expert. I'm just
Giants made some
relaying the facts.
Giants made some bad moves. They made some really questionable. The Burns things is just weird. It's good value, but then it's why are the Giants going all in on an edge rusher when they're the 3rd best team in their division? Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe they should think about offense a little bit
or something, and they don't have a quarterback now. And whatever. Commanders quietly loading up. Just put that out there.
Commanders actually had a pretty good offseason.
Quietly loading up, but I didn't like their head coach.
They're waiting for Dallas and Philly to implode, which is likely to happen in the next year or so. So it's not a bad move by Washington.
The Dallas implosion is more likely to happen than the Philly implosion, I think. I just think Philly's got so many building blocks, and they're so well run.
You would have thought, but last year they pooped.
Yeah, they did poop, and if they play the Lions, they're going to poop again.
Okay.
That's all I got on free agents.
I just got to talk about the NFL for another minute or two. Theo Johnson, Where is he going to go?
Oh, I don't really know.
Day 2.
likely day 2. We
Yep.
think maybe day 3.
Good for Theo, local guy.
Yeah.
Listen, the NFL draft is coming to Detroit and Windsor. It's now under 6 weeks. Get pumped up. This is a big deal for our area. Like the NFL said, there's going to be 400,000 fans coming to Detroit. No. Double that. It's going to be 800,000 people. Windsor and Detroit will be jammed with people, jammed with fans. It's going to be awesome. So pumped. And you should take the tunnel back and forth when you go see stuff.
All right, that's enough politics.
A little bit of politics. Just a little
We'll
bit
talk
of
about
sales.
something that's not municipal politics now. Do you want to talk about your favorite basketball players?
Favorite basketball players that are not NBA guys. Now, we didn't say...
not All-Stars.
not All-Stars. We didn't say we were doing a draft, did we?
No, we didn't. Are we doing a draft?
No, just you list a guy, I'll list a guy.
Okay, I'll let you go first then.
Victor Wembanyama.
Said the name wrong. That's fine.
Wembanyama?
Just stop. Don't disrespect Victor. I'll talk about Victor and what I send you to him on a daily basis.
Isaac sends me stuff a lot. The things that Victor does is just spectacular. People don't want to go anywhere close to the basket. Plus, he's so good. He closes well on three-pointers. He gets lots of steals, buckets, like from all 3 spots. Like anything close to the basket, he can just dunk because he can dunk over everybody. But he also, like, he has good hands. He can tip. Little fadeaways he can do now, hooks. And his three-point shot is pretty decent. I don't know really what San Antonio's doing. It almost seems like some of the guys that are playing with him are selfish and don't want him to get too much spotlight. But Victor's amazing to watch.
Victor's been I was all in on him. I got his jersey, but like before it was like even like fully confirmed. Like I love Victor. He's great for the game. Watch interviews. I talk about him a lot, but I think it's valid. I'll say Cade Cunningham here. Cade's my guy.
Yep.
Cade's a leader. He's a captain. He's a great ball player.
We had a good discussion about him last night. I want you to tell the fans about our discussion. Jimmy and Cade.
So Jimmy's been my favorite player for a very long time. Since I've been a basketball fan, really, that's why I love him so much. Like since Chicago, I don't remember him at Marquette. And Cade is very similar to Jimmy in the sense that, you know, they are both alphas, different types of alphas. Jimmy is a psycho alpha, where Cade is not a psycho alpha, but similar in the sense where they're just going to try to get the offense mixing. They're going to get other guys involved. They're going to make an extra pass. They don't care about their points, right? Like, I think Jimmy scored 14 last night.
Rare for like an alpha and the best player on a team.
You look at all NBA guys, all of them are guys that care usually more about their points than about getting their offense going. Whereas they understand the best way to play basketball is to get your teammates involved. And that's how Cade and Jimmy both play most of the time, pretty much all the time, except when Jimmy says, oh, I'm just going to go and take over, and that's what he'll do in a couple months in the playoffs here. He'll try to. But look, I love Cade, I love Jimmy, very similar, to my favorites.
Okay, I got to go Jamal Murray, which is amazing that he's never been an all-star because he's almost a superstar.
Yeah, sure.
But now playing alongside Jokic obviously makes anybody special, but Jamal and Jokic play together spectacularly well. There's been some injuries, some time that hasn't been great for Murray, but he's fun to watch and he's a beast. And I love the fact that he is Captain Canada.
Yeah, so you love Jamal Murray, like, even before you saw him play, you heard he was Canadian, and
Yes.
I think really liked him.
Agreed.
And I remember we liked him in college.
Yeah, him and Shea.
And it was just because he was Canadian, and he's turned into an awesome NBA player. And
really
he'll be an all-star, for sure.
For sure.
It's going to happen. Unfortunately, the West just has, like, awesome guards play, which is, you know, tough for him to get all-star teams. But he's going to get them eventually. Another guy here, technically an all-star, but he doesn't count it himself, Anthony Edwards.
What? Oh, that's right. That's a good one.
So I'm cheating here.
That's okay, but anytime we can talk about Ant is good.
So we have to get our favorite NBA players that aren't all-stars. Clearly, that's the exercise.
Was it about a week ago, that like series at the end of the game where he like blocked it with his forehead? It was amazing.
Yeah, like he'll do stuff. He'll take over games. He makes me watch and root for like Gobert's team, right? Like that's how much I like
that's
Ant-Man.
how much we like him.
And Towns for that matter. So I love Ant-Man. So people wondering like he was an all-star. Why are you talking about him?
Because he doesn't recognize himself as an all-star, so we are not recognizing an all-star.
He said
this discussion.
He said he was a replacement, whereas Toronto had they shut down the whole province of Ontario to have a victory parade for Scotty Barnes' all-star fraudulent appearance. Sorry, Scotty. Sorry to Toronto. I'm sorry, Urban Paul. I'm just not a Scotty guy.
I know.
Duncan Robinson. Talk about Duncan Robinson. You knew I was going to include him.
Yeah, for sure. I knew you were talking about Duncan. I almost wrote him down like, young blood can take Duncan.
Again, this is
Went to Michigan. Started off at like George Washington University. Or where did he start?
Yeah, he's D3, like maybe D3 guy. Beeline picked him up. Again, when I was first getting into ball, watching Michigan, right? Like dorky guy could only shoot. Like, oh, I'm going to root for that guy. And now plays next to my favorite player, and he gets a lot of run, and he
The funny thing is, as Duncan's game has evolved, your game has also evolved.
Thank you. Yeah,
that's a good comparison.
Duncan can actually play make a little now. He can finish around the rim better. He's got a reverse. So yeah, Duncan Robinson, he's my mirror player. That's who I try to aspire to be.
Fair enough.
Go ahead.
Listen, we didn't talk about Duran yet.
Yeah, he was my next name.
Homegrown talent. It's funny watching him because he plays with intensity. He plays with fire. He wants to dunk it every single time. And I love that type of aggression, right? He's going to get a high percentage of shots. He's not shooting a lot of dumb shots just to try and get his points. He likes to dunk. He likes to intimidate people. He gets the crowd fired up. And also, teams will try less to offensive rebound against the Pistons because they know that Duran's going to just clean the glass. He's a Windex man.
So we've loved Duran. Loved him in college too. Another guy we've loved for a long time. Seeing him in person 3 times this week, just like 5 minutes into the game, it's like, oh, Duran's got 6 boards, and you feel him.
Yeah, and 3 dunks.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is they need to give him credit. He is not coming off his feet as much to try and block shots. He's big enough and he's long enough that he can intimidate shots and affect shots by staying on the ground, which still puts him in a better position for rebounding. His game is evolving, and watch him. Like, he's 6 months younger than you.
Correct. Yeah. And he's got touch and he can shoot free throws now. Like, this guy's going to be able to hit a mid-range jump shot pretty soon. You kind of even saw it.
And he's going to do a little bit, like in the future, how you don't like this, but point Bam, there's going to be some point Duran.
Yeah, every now and then, like maybe once a game, you see Duran bring it up and initiate the offense, and they'll do DHOs off him and stuff. I love that stuff. I love it with Duran because I trust Duran. As a young guy, he's learning. I really, really enjoy watching him play.
Yep.
Another big guy here. You know, like a lot of these names,
you put the Sengun.
So I have Şengün later.
Okay.
Do you want me to do my bid on Şengün now?
Yeah, you might as well. You love Şengün.
My Turkish prince. Look, like Şengün is honestly in a lot of ways you talk baby Jokic. He's very, very fun to watch. Şengün is very fun to watch. He's funny to watch run too because he can't really run. He's grown like 6 inches with the past few months. Love Şengün. Again, Houston's a tough watch often, but I will watch it for Şengün.
Yeah, they should just dump it to Şengün and make magic happen.
Well, that's the thing. You're building.
Okay, you took my guy. Who was big? What big guy are we going to talk about?
Naz Reid.
Oh, I got Naz Reid. Yeah.
Okay, you can talk about Naz then. I like Naz.
It's funny. He makes stuff happen. The problem is he's behind 2 guys that make $1 billion in Cat and Rudy.
Like actually, like $500 million is what they're paying them.
But Reid is like minimums. I think he's like 3 years, 18 million or something like that. But he makes threes. He's a good rebounder. He's a good teammate. He passes. He recognizes that Edwards is an all-star. He's just fun to watch. And whenever you watch him, he makes stuff happen.
He's going to get some playoff moments when Towns is in foul trouble early in the game and it's just Naz Reid out there. Like, people will see him.
And they're going to have to seat Gobert because teams have figured out a way to neutralize him.
Correct. Just Naz Reid's going to have moments in the playoffs because the Timberwolves are going to have big games now. They're going to have big games. A couple guys here. Talk about a guy, Herb Jones.
I knew you were going to pick, yeah.
Herb Jones, look, like rangy, defensive, athletic wings, I like. Herb Jones is like maybe first team All-NBA defense. He's borderline. Again, he's in the Pelicans, so not a lot of people watch him. But he's an elite shooter now, and he made 1 block on Paul George last night, which I don't know if you saw.
No, I did not.
If you look at it, it's just an open shot. Like, Paul George is shooting a wide open shot at the top of the key, and Herb Jones comes from the baseline and in like one stride blocks the Paul George jump shot and grabs the rebound and then finishes on the other end. Like a really freakish athletic play, actually.
Nice.
And then I'll just compile Trey Murphy the third, Pelicans rangy wing.
Is that a slash? You like both those guys?
I love both these
Pelicans.
guys. I watch a lot of Pelicans.
Murphy Jones, you like?
So those are my guys. Go ahead.
Mo Wagner.
That's unpopular, dude.
I know he's one of the most unpopular guys in the NBA. He just stirs crap up. He annoys people. He's loud, but he actually makes some plays. Like, he has evolved in. Obviously, his brother is, borderline all-star and has really just got a bigger future. But Mo Wagner is an excellent backup big, right? He's entertaining. He makes stuff happen. He can hit a shot. He can pass. He obviously plays pretty well with his brother. I like Mo. Obviously, the Michigan thing is relevant here.
Not a lot of people like Mo Wagner.
Nope.
Basketball fans do not like Mo Wagner.
Nope.
So we recognize that. Nikhil Alexander Walker.
Oh, yeah, you like him.
Canadian dude.
Fell
in love with him in the summer, watching him just like harass the opposing team's point guards, watching Team Canada. And he's been great this year. And he's a great shooter. And again, he's going to have playoff moments. So just another athletic wing that I like.
A guy that you like, Jalen Suggs.
Oh, okay. Talk about
It's funny.
Suggs.
When he came into the NBA, people weren't sure, is he a 1? Is he a 2? You know, who cares? Like when people say to me, oh, is I still playing basketball? You just, play some rec league stuff. What position does he play? That's not relevant unless you're 7 feet
Who was the
tall.
last person that asked you what position I play?
I think it was Dave Fox.
Shout out Dave Fox. That's my
hey,
guy.
Foxy.
Hey, Fox.
Who's actually a good athlete, good basketball player, good tennis player, all that kind of stuff. But who cares what position he plays? He plays a wing. He can guard. He can hit some big shots, and he tries super hard. He makes a lot happen with the Orlando Magic. He's been good over the next couple of years. I know you're a big Suggs fan.
Yeah, I love Suggs. Elite defender, and he's a very good 3-point shooter now. Jalen Williams,
a decent size. He's like, Jalen Williams from OKC. That was an easy one.
Like, wasn't sure where I was going to include him again.
Yeah, wing Jalen Williams.
Correct. Talk about playoff moments. He's going to get some.
Is he part of their big 3?
Yeah, he's the 2 in their big 3.
Just making sure.
He is member number 2 next to Shea.
Okay.
I love Jalen Williams. Watch the Thunder. That's great ball. Good job, Shea.
What about Colin/Chet Holmgren? Do you have him down?
As my favorite?
No, but just as a guy who you like to watch.
I do. Some people love him.
He is entertaining to watch. He really is funny.
I like watching Chet. Sometimes he's a little too like. There's just games where he's not involved much.
Correct. He
so
goes
you have to
quiet
catch
a
him.
little bit.
You have to catch him on the right night when he's shooting a lot.
But he's fun to watch.
And he's very good defensively. Do you have any more names? I have 2 more. Okay, 2 briefly. Scoot Henderson.
I haven't really watched much Scoot.
I can't blame him. Thanks for the honesty. Not a lot of people watching the Portland Blazers this year. I get it. They're tough watches, but I'm watching for him and I'm watching for Sharp when he's healthy. Two of my guys.
Sharp, you got cooked by Sharp.
Yeah, because Sharp. You want to tell the story briefly again?
I think people know, but Isaac used to play Riverside Falcons, and they went up to London to play this team. London Gold Medal, is that who the team was?
Yeah, pretty intimidating team name.
And your man, Benny. What's Benny's last name? Stamitovsky?
Yeah, we Stammy, though.
Good athlete, and he was kind of the big who would guard the other team's best big. And this guy was just cooking Stammy, but cooking the entire team.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, a couple years ago, Stammy told you, remember that guy who was just killing us? That's Shaden Sharp, who plays in the NBA.
Yeah, Canadian
from
dude.
London.
We looked up the roster, like that was him. So he torched me and my team a couple times when we played. So Shaden Sharp rooting for him, and then Scoot's my guy. Met Scoot, just pure class from Scoot.
Oh, I forgot you met him at. Where did you meet him? All-Star.
All-Star weekend.
Yep.
Colin and I just bumped into him, literally. So we're rooting for Scoot. So those are some favorite players that are non-All-Stars.
Good.
Okay.
Okay, a couple minutes about the Chautauqua.
Please.
So people don't really know what a Chautauqua is. We're going to write it in the title, and you're like, what is that?
I'm not.
Chautauqua
so you know.
used to be
Will
like
not
a
be in the
traveling education, right? You're living in a small town, Hicksville, and you had to like educate people as to what's going on. So you would like bring out the group and you'd bring everybody together and say, okay, this is how we're going to build a new town hall. This is how we're going to build a new bridge. So we just educate the masses. So a few years ago, I got involved with a bicycle Chautauqua.
You're
which
losing
is
me,
basically
just so you know.
A whole bunch of leaders, people who run organizations who get together and bike for 3 days and share stories about leadership and managing people and change and cool stuff. And one of the things that we like about sports is it makes people uncomfortable. It makes people you're tired and you got to grit and you got to get mean, you got to get angry. That's the thing about sports. And when you're cycling hard, you get angry, you got to grit your teeth, you're in pain. This group gets angry but then we share stories about how to get better, how to lead people. And I just got to tell you, I had a spectacular experience with this group, a couple weeks ago. Shout out Maynard, Foxy, Chris, Mike, Urban, Peter, Bethany, Ed, Greg, Elaine, Cora, Tina. Miss you guys. Had such a great time with you guys. And I got better. I got to be a better leader because of you guys. I just got to say thank you.
Okay, so I'm sure.
That was a bit manic. It was a little manic. Sorry about that. I got a little excited.
That's okay.
And I went off script a little.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think
Teamwork element. Be better people.
So now we're talking about teamwork.
It's another display of leadership. Another example of leadership. Never leave somebody behind. Help each other. Help a coworker out. Do the right thing. Take a risk. Do something cool. Get better. That's my.
It's a lot.
Speech for that. That's a lot.
Good for you. That's great. I celebrate this. Victory.
Listen, I'm unique in terms of my energy level and the things that motivate me. That is true.
Yeah, I would say that is true for me as well.
Yes.
And I likely get that from you.
Somewhat, yes. So one day you're going to wow, that was a great experience. And you're going to get all manic. I'm going to see, that's genetics.
I'm pretty manic. I'm pretty erratic now, though. So do you want to talk about Vegas? You spent some time in Vegas. Like, I don't know if that was supposed to be.
Nah, it's Vegas is a weird place. I don't particularly.
Oh,
like
okay,
Vegas.
okay, go. This is good.
There's just too many weirdos everywhere.
Be careful.
I'm gonna try and be careful. I'm not gonna say all the things that pop in my mind, but one conversation that came up, and
Just so you know, I'm gonna cut this off whenever it gets to the point where I think I might lose my job or my education.
yeah, me too.
Okay.
Boy, there's a lot of things that I can say that I shouldn't say. One of the things, it's a little hard to determine who the prostitutes are.
Okay,
these
so
days
we'll stop
and
at that.
who are not the
No.
prostitutes.
So that's
it. We'll cut it there.
First of all, just say lady of the night. I
Lady
think
of
that's
the
the
night.
term.
Okay.
Second of all, it's enough of that.
Okay, fair enough.
Do you have anything else to say that's not going to get either of us imprisoned?
I hope the Red Wings are winning when we go back and watch.
I hope so too. But if not, I'm just going to put on, I think, Godfather Part 2.
Good idea. Okay, peace out, everybody.